she lost her way. And thank goodness I fought one more time. No matter how many day ones we all have, one day, if we don't give up, it's going to stick.
Welcome to Recoverycast, where we share authentic stories from influential voices about the joys of life in mental health and addiction recovery, and the journeys that led us here.
We tell our stories because we don't heal in isolation.
I'm Brittany Baynard.
And I'm Tom Farley.
Today, we are honored to welcome Michelle Smith, the powerhouse behind Recovery is the New Black. A TEDx speaker, best-selling author, and addiction recovery advocate, Michelle is on a mission to help high-achieving women break free from addiction and reclaim their lives. After her own journey through sobriety, she turned her experience into a movement, creating a supportive community that blends science, storytelling, and soul. From her viral social media presence, her best-selling book, Living Sober, Living Free, to her transformative coaching, Michelle is redefining what it means to thrive in recovery. Get ready for an inspiring conversation about healing, resilience, and living life unapologetically sober. Thank you so much for joining us today. This is our guest, Michelle, joining us on the Recoverycast podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Yes.
Welcome, Michelle. Yeah, this is so, I feel like, I love your Instagram account. And when you walked in here, I'm like, oh, yeah, there you are. It's the same smile. So welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, so we're so excited to hear your story. So let's dive right in. So kind of in the middle too. So you're in your 30s, a lot of stuff is going on, and that's when it all starts to accumulate and get a bit overwhelming. Take us to that point.
Yeah. Life got really lifey.
Yeah.
And everything seemed to be going the way that I had constructed my life to go for so many years. We all have this dream of like what we want our lives to look like. I had the career of my dreams, the home, the family, everything that I had wanted so badly I was living it. And it got to a point really quick where all I wanted to do was escape my own life, everything that I had built. And, when I started to dabble in alcohol, and, I can't blame anybody but myself, but there was like a series of unfortunate events that started to happen. And one of those is financial hardship with my husband being deployed and having to work 2 jobs in a maximum security prison. And my mom suddenly passed away. And that was really hard because I'm like, I'm just learning to be a mom myself. I don't have time to grieve. And I ended up having a stroke. Like all of these things all at the same time. And the message that I was given either by like mommy wine juice culture, the bereavement, the people who I was there trying to grieve my mother's death were all, alcohol is here. Your mom just died. It's okay to have a glass of wine. Or motherhood's really hard and drinking helps. And these were the messages I started to hear more commonly. And I had a predisposition to alcoholism. It ran vampant in my life, in my family. Yeah. And I opened up Pandora's box. I had the perfect example of what not to be.
Okay, so let's dive into that example. Yes. So take us back to your childhood, to where those examples for you started coming in.
Yes. So family full of physicians, and our secrets kept us sick.
Yeah.
Reputable, people in the community. We can't tell anybody that this is our little secret, that this is what's happening at home. And so I was silenced at a very young age. And that was really, really tricky. So if dad was drinking, we just go into our room or we hide. If he's sober, we get to have dinner as a family. We get to go bowling. We get to go putt-putt golfing. And it was very much growing up a product of my environment. I didn't know what I was going to get.
So you're navigating other people's feelings and emotions at such a young age. What did that do to you then? How does that reflect on how you continued to move through the world as a child?
Looking back in hindsight, I think it was very much my thoughts, opinions, and what I believed and what I wanted didn't matter. It was secondary to what was going on in that moment. And so I was very influenced throughout my adult life in doing what was best for other people. It didn't matter what Michelle wanted. I didn't even know what my favorite color was. I didn't even know what I wanted for dinner. Whatever Dad wanted for dinner, I was okay with.
You know, it's interesting. It just struck me the same thing is I learned, and it sounded like you have the exact same thing. I learned that managing the narrative was the most important thing in the family. And then when I became an adult, I had to manage my narrative. It sounds like that's what I'm hearing.
Mm-hmm. Right? Absolutely. And then you're like, but what do I like? What's my favorite color? What do I like? And you have to learn all of these things all over. And that's what recovery gives us, is creating that space to figure out who we want to be.
That authentic life. Yeah, that's wonderful. Yeah. So we're back into the 30s. Things are kind of crumbling around. When was that point where you're like, this is too much? What happened there? And what was that?
There was a lot of situations, as with anybody who has a recovery story, of just rock bottom after rock bottom. And what you thought was the rock bottom prior, ooh-wee,
can get so low.
It just keeps going and going and going. And I really thought that my fate was going to be a jail cell or death. Like, those were my two options. And looking today, this disease does not discriminate, and nobody is immune to this, where it was just hospitalization after law enforcement, after school, child protective services, divorce papers served to me. I mean, it was just like my whole world was just crumbling. And I knew that if I eliminated this one thing from my life, that left endless possibilities of things that I could do. But the choice to do that was so difficult.
I mean, honestly, cells do not change our minds. Like, the punishment in the moment, it's often not a time when we're at our lowest or having those horrible things happen. We're like, you know what? Like, I'm ready to change. Right. We just kind of continue to go down that path until there is some type of switch and you're ready for that moment. Yeah, that short little spark.
It's that window of like courage and clarity is what I like to say. And it's like, people are like, what's your aha moment? What was that light switch, that rock bottom? And it was just, I was done. I had woken up with CPS in a hospital bed. Like, you'd think that was my bottom. And I would love to say that my redemption story started then, but I'd be lying. Yeah. It wasn't. It was just waking up on November 24th of 2016, and I was done. I was exhausted.
Those are really powerful images on your Instagram, by the way. Recovery is the New Black. You go there. You know, those moments, those pictures, powerful, really powerful. Brings you back. You can't forget that those moments.
Right. And that's the last thing that we want to do, is take photographs of our bottom and these things. And, I even tell people, like, just hide them away, keep them, because it's a way to measure and track your progress instead of just solely doing that based on the numbers of sober days you have that are consecutive.
Do you ever look at other pictures that were taken at your life, through your life, and say, like, what was I feeling there? Like, I can see it in my face.
Oh, yeah. I thought I was having the best time ever,
right?
But hindsight, that was messy.
Like the honesty hits you like, no, you weren't. And it shows. Yep.
And it's like, why do we have to do that? Why did we have to be so lit and intoxicated during such a glorious, wonderful time in our life, regardless of what we were celebrating? And it was just, I see a sick person, a person who was, I feel for her, a lot of sympathy, but also a lot of guilt and all the things that we have to work through in our recovery program. But she lost her way. And thank goodness I fought one more time. No matter how many day ones we all have, one day, if we don't give up, it's going to stick.
Yeah. And that's so important too, because there can be multiple day ones, and that's okay as long as you keep on trying.
Did you go right? Like, I need treatment, or did you try to other remedies, other paths that failed until you're like, okay, I surrender? Or did you go right in? Like,
oh no, I tried it all. Starting with the moderation game and that whole alcohol trap and that cycle. If it's going to be better, it's going to be different next time. And so I had to go through years of all of that habitual relapse, which dug the rock bottom further and further. But, worked with my doctor, worked with an addictions counselor, medication, outpatient, the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous, movement, meditation, all of it. And the thing is too, it's like, well, which one worked? And it's like, it was an accumulation of everything, all of the different treatment modalities. They all said the same thing. I was just ready to listen.
Yeah, because it's a lifestyle. And you can fill your life up with these different styles of treatment.
Right.
It's not just one thing. Like yoga's not, but yoga for me, it wouldn't be a cure-all.
Right.
But yoga could be an amazing part of my life or your life where that helps center you and makes you feel great along with other aspects of treatment.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's a tool for our toolbox. And it's like that patchwork to recovery, and when I get closer to like the death of my mom, I need to take care of myself and tune into my mental health and honor her and honor the fact that she would be proud that I'm living a lifestyle that she's proud of.
Yes.
And so it can change based on the season of my life where I have to kind of like, change my recovery plan. But yeah, it helped going to treatment. Absolutely. Did I drink after that? Yeah, I did. I thought I was cured. It's going to be different this time.
You get this notion of like, when the cast's off, am I good to go? Yeah. But what of treatment? What does stick? What did stick? What did you kind of keep in your back pocket?
I got back into like the faith, and that was really helpful. And getting back into a structured program of Alcoholics Anonymous was really helpful for me. I had to go in the morning, I had to go in the evening, and that momentum really helped strengthen my recovery outpatient when I got back into the real world, because I wasn't going to be structured. I wasn't going to have all that accountability, to work that honest program. So that was really helpful. I think another thing that was really helpful is that the world goes on without Michelle, that my tribe rallied around me and took care of the house. My coworkers held down the fort. My job, my kids were well taken care of, that I didn't need to be everything to everyone because I was busting at the seams. And if I continued to function this way, my sobriety and my mental health were going to be at risk. And I didn't have the bandwidth, and these expectations that I was setting for myself were completely unrealistic. So it was really good and healthy for me to say, I don't have to do all this. I can create boundaries and take better care of myself so I can outlive like the longevity of like my childhood. My parents are gone. I was literally eliminating myself from my own life. And how dare I do that?
I feel like you're speaking to my soul when it comes to women. Sorry, Tom.
Go.
Like women, when it's just, we do try and do it all at times. And it feels wrong to allow people to help us out with that. And then it's just like this snowball effect where you stop taking care of yourself and self-care starts to look like taking care of other people, and you lose yourself. And that kind of goes to what you were saying earlier. It's like this trap we can fall in where what I like is what other people like. And what I like is when other people are happy and when I'm making other people happy, and you totally lose this sense of yourself. Outside of treatment and helping heal that part in your community that rallied around you, what was that like exiting treatment and adjusting to that new lifestyle where you do want to remain sober?
Yeah. We need to do a better job in treatment of reintegrating, even rehabilitation with just, offenders going, out of custody. Yeah. It's just that here you go. Life's just right back to the way it was. Well, guess what's going to happen if you go right back to the way things were? And that's where I kind of feel like that went wrong. I was thriving on willpower in AA for 30 days. And it was like, eventually it's like, people can't care for me. I have to learn to care for me, but the show must go on. The jobs, transporting your kids to sports and school, and the world doesn't slow down because Michelle got sober. So I had to really create what that daily schedule and habits and routine was going to look like. And it was a whole lot of no's so I could say yes later. And that boundary for Michelle was really, really hard.
Because you brought it up. I'm gonna continue down that kind of women's thing because
by all means,
because I love venturing into territory I know nothing about.
I'm ready.
But to me, in recovery, it's all about connection.
Yeah.
And you talk about this mommy culture. I think women are kind of tailor-made for connection, but they get it wrong sometimes. I've seen women's recovery groups that are like people you don't mess with, they're so powerful, and I see people change. And so how do you go from, this connection? I mean, because it's the same. You want the connection.
It's ingrained in some of these groups. Sometimes. Yeah.
But it's just kind of flipping it on its edge. Like, I still want the connection, but take the wine out of it. Yeah. Did you do any women's recovery groups? Or?
Oh yeah. And you're right. The shift, it went from, complaining about your husband's walking through the park, right, with everyone drinking their wine that's disguised in a coffee cup, complaining about how horrible your life is and how horrible your kids are to you and they have no gratitude and they're selfish, to deep, meaningful conversations with substance, conversations that matter, vulnerable, raw conversations. I'm here for that. Absolutely. And that's the shift in conversation. It was, for purpose over popularity. It's, not gossiping, but, or judging. It's like, we're journaling over on this side of recovery while I was over there judging beforehand. And so we still have those same communities of women. It's just the conversations shifting to something that's more uplifting and something that's meaningful.
And let me just guess that going from one to the other, the levels of fear that you have completely changed. Like, one, there's a lot of fear there, and the other, you're over that fear. You're getting past that and having these wonderful connections.
Absolutely.
Even though you might be talking about very difficult things, you don't have that fear, and that opens up so much. Did you experience that?
Absolutely. I laugh, and I was like, how somebody will tell you, like, someday you're going to laugh about this. It's not going to be today, right? And it's like, I laugh so much more and not take myself so serious, like in recovery, than I did as a person that was drinking. Like, life was just so serious. And, it was just like stomping the pavement and this has to get done. And I was missing out on all of my life and all my experiences.
It's interesting. I literally, one post really jumped out at me because it was really resonated, was when you said that I thought I wasn't going to have any more fun anymore.
Yeah.
And we all thought that. I thought that was the worst thing. I was going to lose all my friends and not have any more fun. That was terrifying to me because I like my fun.
My goodness. I did that. I mean, skydiving, zip lining, jumping off cliffs in Hawaii. I never would have done any of that stuff. Like, my shift of adrenaline is just different now. And the thing with like boring, recovery sobriety is so boring. No, it's really not. You have been gifted back so much time that you were spent thinking about drinking, hungover from drinking. You're welcome. Like, universe just gave you back hours and days and years from your life. Go live it.
Yes, you've reframed your version of fun.
Yes.
So it's not a lack of fun. It's so much better and so much more involved, not only mentally, but like the longevity of those connections to being able to make them.
Right.
Before, like, at least in my case, I had maybe 2 or 3 emotions in my back pocket that I was dealing with.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I'm understanding emotions. I'm applying the right emotion to the right, the right feeling. And all of a sudden I have all this, so much more to work with. Like, that's not boring and unfun at all. What was boring is that you're only given 3 things to work with.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's like, how much fun is lying on the bathroom tiled floor, sick, contemplating, do I get well and go get what I know I need to get? Or do I just detox there and pretend to my kids that mommy just got the flu? It's like, I mean, what life do you want to live?
Missing out on special moments. Yeah. And the shame of stuff too. That's such a hurdle. I feel like we commonly hear in recovery is like overcoming the shame to be able to bare our souls, to be able to share these raw moments and our recovery stories. What is something that helped you get over that to be able to open up and share about recovery and share sobriety with so many other people?
Yeah. You hear these slogans but they're so true. It's like, your secrets keep you sick. If I silence myself and I don't share, and I was never it was not that I was never told I could share or speak or use my voice. It was at such a young age, I didn't know how to find it. I didn't know that was an option. Mm-hmm. And so for me, it's like that my silence was keeping me sick, and the shame spiral that happens, especially when you're, talking to these inmates and empowering them to not use and to, I was the biggest hypocrite in the world. I couldn't wait for 5 o'clock to get home, and it's like, how do you tell somebody as a professional that I have a problem and I need help?
We do a lot of rationalizing to ourselves in those moments.
Minimizing, justifying, hiding, sneaking. Yeah. I'll do better next time. All of that.
Tell us a little bit about your journaling and how that helped. Obviously, it spurned you could see it, in your Instagram post. You've written a book, Living Sober, Living Free. I love that.
How do you keep up with journaling?
That's a hard thing.
But journal cemetery.
Right?
In a junk drawer right now.
Yeah.
Yep. Simplify the process.
Oh,
literally.
Nice.
People are like, journal. I'm like, okay, so I get this sparkly pen and this cup of tea and I'm by a fire, the whole thing.
Vibey.
Right? Again, it's like the yoga, right?
Yes.
It's like it can only take you so far. Is this going to help me get sober? But with the journal, it's literally like I didn't know how to brain dump. I didn't know what to say. And so I'm like, I need to simplify the process with journal prompts. I need to make this easy so it's habitual and I can do this on a daily basis in less than 5 minutes. That's it. But I needed it to be helpful at the same time, a reflection of what happened today, what was working, what wasn't working, and what am I going to do tomorrow? That was it. Not tracking just my victories or not even just my mistakes, but also the successes and the progress, because basically it's teaching me and showing me what's working and what's not working. And I can lean in and get curious about that information and use it to strengthen my recovery moving forward, or I can simply shame myself and go drink and try again tomorrow. So the lessons were all there.
Right.
Is it Friday, every other Friday? Payday's a trigger. For some women, it's the ex has the kids. So I threw him out with the trash because he cheated. Now I'm alone and I don't have my kids. I'm going to go nose dive into a bottle of vino. There is information, if we track it, that we can use to get well, not to continue to self-destruct.
Yeah, the first time I dipped my toe in there, it was when in recovery, when somebody said, well, you should just write down your gratitudes. And I'm like, looking at a blank paper, like no, nothing, because I was going through life ignoring I was amazed at the little things that I could be grateful for, like every second of the day, and how that changed the way I felt.
Yeah,
and just that alone, not like I had a bad day. It's like I had that moment.
Giving gratitude.
Yeah,
so
that was what that was a heavy lift that I leaned into, and it worked.
I feel like when you start writing them down too, then it becomes natural in your daily life to sit there when you're not like prompting yourself, like I need to think of something to be grateful for. Right. You just like in the moment of it, you're like, I am so grateful to be present in this moment and to experience this, and how lucky am I?
Right.
Yeah.
And so many people think that like as soon as they choose sobriety or recovery, that their life is miraculously better. No. And it's like, whether or not people experience that pink cloud, it's like, no, just bad things don't happen anymore as a result because you're drinking.
Right.
Like you still have hard days.
It's life.
Life will continue.
It's
to
life.
happen.
It's still,
You've just
financial stress is still there. Yeah. But what I noticed is the difference between the two is all those same kind of ups and downs, but life was getting better on this side. And it was, if I'm honest, never getting better. A lot of ups and downs, but treadmill stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And that's the difference. 8 years in recovery. Congratulations. That's right.
Thank you.
So we start, sharing our stories in church basements, and it starts to feel good, and not just telling your stories, but hearing others, but then taking it to the world. Like, what made you go from, I'm going to, this is my recovery community, I'm going to keep it here, to, which is a lot of people do. It's fine.
Yeah.
But no, I got something to share.
Bestselling author.
What was there?
Speaker, Instagram,
right. I mean,
so
doing it. What was that? Yeah, talk about that shift.
It started as just documenting my journey. After like a year solid in recovery, I'm just like, I just want to document just my own journey and my own experiences, and people could relate. And the messages started coming in the emails of this is my struggle. You know, my parents were, you know, high profile people in the community, and I can relate. We started to find similarities. And there was so many women who were afraid that, you know, we hear about this gray area drinking. And people, now we don't have to wait for our lives to become completely unmanageable or a complete dumpster fire in order to look at our relationship with alcohol, drugs, any addiction. But it's like we are either a normie where we can drink and we can do it responsibly, or we're an alcoholic or an addict and we need to be in the bottom of church basements or incarcerated, right? So there's this, I mean, it's going to be decades in between of where we can get curious about, why are we doing this? What is this really helping? Like, how can we just reevaluate our relationship with this substance? And these conversations are happening that we don't have to wait to be completely dependent.
Yes.
Yeah,
right?
it's funny. What I found is the deeper and more work I got into my vulnerability, people came to me.
Right.
I had to show them that first, because, you know, we all fear that. And that's why I don't want to go there. That's why I built this wall.
Right.
That's why the wall's there. But once I started to break down my wall and be vulnerable, I was amazed. All I wanted was connection. And I got it just by starting with me being vulnerable.
You being you.
Right.
Who would have thought?
And well, I didn't know who that was. So
Right.
I was putting somebody else out that.
It's wild. Something that made us all feel so alone can actually bring people together. People from all different walks of life. Like you were saying, so many different women reach out, and it's this like connection when somebody feels that thing, like, yes, I can relate to that. And it gives people hope. It really gives people hope to see and to restart. You know, if something happens, to take a step back, it's okay to try again. There's always just another day there. Yeah,
absolutely. And it's like, there's nothing good about alcohol. Like, it adds zero benefit or value to our lives. And let's have the conversation around, it's not about just, are you an alcoholic? It's, you know, risk starts at the first drop. Let's have conversations about doctors that are no longer saying a glass of wine is good for your health. Like, let's start there. If this isn't adding value and it's not good for you, like, it's not helping you with your fat loss goals or your mental health, that's enough of a reason to put the pause. Let's take a look at this and go from there.
Not only that, just why we feel the need to have it involved in everything, in social aspects. And I feel like we could really open up if that wasn't such a...
Because it's on the movies. It's what we see. It's what big alcohol tells us.
But in the movies, it seems so fun going on that little walk with your mommies and like having all that wine. But I feel like they don't show the reality of it.
The reality where you get in the car and you wrap yourself around a telephone pole?
That part.
There.
That part.
Yes. Yes.
For
For a long time, I thought the barometer was drinking, that I just had to cut that out. And everything was fine. And yet the train wrecks continued. And I realized that the sobriety part was just there to give you the clarity to work on all the stuff that's the real stuff. It's not really about drinking, not drinking, but you need to do that to clear the way to work on all this stuff that I'm started to work with in recovery.
And that's where I think community is so important too, is because like when you stop using and you don't have those like safeguards and defense mechanisms, it's like, and then you're like faced with the reality of all the destruction that you've caused, the harm, and you've lost your best friend, aka alcohol. For me, this is too hard. I don't want to do this. I don't want to face this. I might as well, everyone thinks I'm a deadbeat and, I might as well just stay here. It's familiar, right? The fear of the unknown and facing all of the things is terrifying. And that's where community, I've been there. I'm not going to judge you. I've done the same things, if not worse, and creating that circle of people that are not going to judge you and they are going to uplift you.
Or the self-doubt that you're judging yourself. I mean, oh my gosh, to be rid of that was, thank you.
Right.
It's interesting. I always thought that, my tribe meant like everyone that had the same background as me, upbringing, went to the same schools and, have the same kind of industry, professionals and things like that. I didn't connect to any of those people in my tribe. And then I got into recovery where all these different people, whole different stories, different levels of substance were coming into my life, but they were coming into my life as, working on at least, if not being their authentic self.
Mm-hmm.
That's my tribe. Like we're all just being authentic.
Right. And we're all so similar regardless, and I always say it, I don't care who your dad is, how much money you make or what college you attended. This disease does not discriminate, and nobody is immune. This is a highly addictive substance or substances. If you continue to keep going back to that, you will become addicted, period. Mm-hmm. And people just think that they're an exception to this rule, including myself. I will be the person who cracks moderation. I tried for everybody and failed.
Yeah.
So everybody out there, you don't need to try. Like I did it for all of us. It's such a waste of time. But sometimes we have to do all of the things in order to know.
We have to check off all our own boxes. Like, nope, couldn't do that. All right, here we go.
Yes, absolutely. And it's part of my story and part of my journey. Do I look back and say, dang, I've lost a decade of my life? I sure did. But I've got several more decades to freaking live. And that keeps me going.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So I love this conversation. This is the whole point of this podcast is like, this is what life looks like in recovery. And that's how wonderful and beautiful it is. But let me now, again, go way back to, we don't see that. We don't believe that. It's just, I got to get into treatment. Mm-hmm. And it's so difficult, and you can try this one. You can try this one. You got a luxury one. Just bring me back there. Like because you got to go through that gate, some of us, before you get to all that. And you don't even believe that that's even out there. So how did you and sometimes people stop there because it's so difficult to find the right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think because of conversations like this, it's opening up more opportunity for people that didn't know. So for me, it was like, I can't have my chart flagged. I can't, I'd lie on the questionnaires, which all the women I've asked do this as well, where it's like, oh, I only drink once or never on the doctor questionnaires, where it's like, eventually I get wheeled into the emergency department and it doesn't matter what I circled before. Like I have severe alcohol poisoning. And so it created an opportunity to have a conversation, right? But it's like, conversations like this and the doctor and, recovery.com and having these features and having just the word be spread that there's so many different ways. It doesn't have to only be AA or a hospital or a doctor that's referring us to a particular level of care that we meet criteria for. Yeah. So it's like, being able to be vulnerable, to have these conversations and share. Yeah. Here's a resource. Do with it what you may. I'm just going to leave it here or text it to somebody, and maybe during this moment of clarity and courage, they will reach out and contact a provider.
What we've done before is, we ask, we finally accepted, I need treatment. And then you start to ask your primary care, your friends, people that have gone through on the journey, you ask all these things, but you still don't have that knowledge and that agency and control. Mm-hmm. Like, did you find that kind of, that you were there relying on everyone else's opinion and how that worked?
Absolutely. At the mercy of the professionals. And I trusted in their ability to lead me to whatever level of care I needed in that moment. And that moment changed and shifted.
Yeah. Yep.
And that's okay. It's kind of like that, going back to like the stages of grief or the stages of just recovery. We can go back through different ones at different times, and so kind of full circle for me of like, I started in the rooms, went to inpatient, did all these things in between, and then ended up finding that the rooms were exactly where I needed to be, so that level of care can ebb and it can flow throughout our entire life.
Yeah, because I think a lot of what they forget is, the person that knows you the best is who? You.
That's right.
But you're getting advice from people who certainly know the disease, but
right.
Do they know you?
So many people.
So matching that, that when that hits, when that matches up, boy, that's and you have to be actively a part of that to help the treatment professionals kind of understand. And so getting closer to that, getting both parties to come together.
And a lot of times it's not just one time.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes. How many different facilities did you go to for treatment?
For inpatient, one. Yep. I was about to head back for a second round and I was done. Like it just clicked and I was like, I got to go with this momentum. I have to do this.
Yes.
And just that a lot of mindset shifts of just, I don't have to worry about tomorrow. Like just for today, like this is 24 hours I just stayed sober for. That was 24 hours. You know how many thoughts we have in like a moment? I could have ran so many different directions and gotten loaded if I wanted to. And just keeping that momentum going of like tomorrow, if I want to drink, I can drink tomorrow.
What was your next step out of treatment? What kept you connected? Was it, what was that next step? Was it, did your treatment center have a good alumni connection? Was it the rooms? Was it sober living? You know, there's so many things.
I think it was, what really kept me sober. And, we can only keep ourselves clean and sober, but at first it was like, I need to do this for my kiddos because they deserve a mom. I didn't have that, and it's like, I'm eliminating myself from their life. How dare I do that? And it's like, if I can keep myself sober because they deserve this, I know someday I can do this for me. And that was like that momentum of like, I have to do this. I have to get this right. I have to break the cycle.
And actively kind of recreate my identity. As I said before, players are all the same, but now you're changed and this is your identity and you start creating from there. Like
it's so important to do that for yourself, but it is when you find something that is that encouraging thing until you are okay to do that on your own, I feel like it's beautiful to grab onto that. I grabbed onto making sure that like I would be there for my child. And then I was able to just gain that like self-love again to save myself for myself.
Right.
Yes.
Yep.
Are you excited about, I don't know how old your kids are, but like, are you excited for that time in their lives when you're going to talk back to them about this, like what you were doing? Because they may not be aware. You're going to have that moment. And it's going to be
I've been soft launching mine.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I've been, They're right now, they're 12 and 15. So we definitely have those conversations.
Yeah.
They, during the pandemic, they got to hear mom and, they can sometimes travel with me. And we have had to have those conversations of just because moms drink doesn't mean they're bad moms. Yeah. We can't judge them because they choose not to do this. And it's such a beautiful thing to see so many moms come to me or their kids come to me and just want to have a conversation or are asking for a resource.
Yeah, I think that can be so therapeutic too, especially growing up in a household that maybe kept that to themselves and those things weren't shared with you. So you could learn about it in like a safe way to grow, to be able to open up to your own children and have those conversations now in a healthy and educational way. That's so amazing to be able to do that.
Yep.
Yeah. This podcast is brought to you by Recovery.com. Recovery.com is a place where anyone can find mental health or addiction treatment options specific to them. You can filter by location, price, insurance coverage, therapy type, mental health condition, levels of care, and so much more. Recovery.com is the place to find mental health and addiction treatment for anyone, anywhere.
Tell me about the humor in your life. How has that been helpful? Have you used humor in your recovery?
I think I was just so dulled. My personality was just like mediocre. I'm not a hilarious person by any means, but I can find humor in a situation, which I think is so freeing for me. I can just laugh instead of like being embarrassed that like I just tripped on the curb or like just stupid things. Like I don't shame myself and beat myself up for it. I'm like, okay, I'm human. I just did this really stupid thing. And it was kind of funny, I mean, even just like drunken episodes where I'm like, what I thought was going to destroy me, bless and release it. It's like you learned from that. It's like, that was ridiculous. We don't live there anymore. We're here and shame has no place. So it's like, just brush it off. You're human. Let's go.
Just the tone in answering that question, there was humor and joy behind it. And I know you may have thought it was humorous or funny before, but that wasn't there. I can guarantee it.
Yeah.
I can see it.
There's a time when you're not able to like crack
I know
jokes
what I say.
about,
Yeah, it's like, okay, you're not selling it.
It's not,
but like,
we're having a good time.
Right.
Talk to me about like your book. Like,
It was an awesome process.
yeah.
Yeah, it was so fun. Again, it was like pouring my heart into something that we can just simplify the process and make something less intimidating.
Mm-hmm.
And just knowing that this is on the bookshelves of just women and they gift it, it's like, I'm just going to put it on the coffee table and you do what you want with it, and I have people that just like, will just send me pictures of what day they're on and how this was beneficial to them. And just a reflection of, let's find a tool that works, that's not just tracking mistakes.
Yes.
Reset, here we go. Like, let's find a gentler, kinder way that still is honest and that we can still hold ourselves accountable. And I think that this does that.
Recovery is the New Black is thriving, best-selling book. I've heard you on quite a few podcasts. Your story is absolutely amazing and so grateful that you are out here sharing this. For people that are out there contemplating their journey, maybe about to take that step into a journey in recovery, people that are in that journey in recovery, what are some words of advice that you have for them?
I think lean in and get curious about wherever you're at with whatever substance it is. Don't shame yourself and don't think that you're an exception to the rule. Just gain information and clarity, because wisdom and proximity of being influenced around people who are doing things that you either want to do or don't want to do can be really influential. So listen to the podcasts, read the books, try the different types of non-alcoholic drinks, like just test drive sobriety and see how it feels. If you don't like it, go back. No harm, no foul. Go back to what you know. But it will always be here. And there's so many more resources and tools coming out every single day that people can just put on, like I said, their coffee table or listen while they're on their commute to work. It's a huge trigger for people. Let's listen to this podcast when we're driving home from point A to point B, just so we don't stop at the liquor store or the gas station. That's the goal. Tunnel vision. And this podcast can be that tool.
Yes, we've desensitized ourselves from alcohol. Let's sensitize ourselves. Is that a word? Sensitize?
If not, we just
write it down.
I'll go with
Write it
that.
down.
Yeah. And how do you spell it? No, I always tell people like, really pay attention to how much fear and self-doubt you're feeling right now, because that's where you get derailed. Like if you're feeling that, you're gonna rationalize, make decisions, and try to minimize that in a very what seems an easy way, but it's destructive.
Right. It's like, the way that we speak to ourselves matters because we're listening. It's that simple. Yeah. And the things I said to myself, I would never say to anybody else.
Oh my gosh.
Ever.
Yes.
Ever. And so it's like, I will get this right. When I do get sober, this is how I'm going to feel. This is what I'm going to experience. Like, it's not about you're worthless, you're a piece of crap, you're no good, your kids don't deserve you.
That would never work, saying that to a friend ever to help them in anything. You would lift them up. You would tell them how much you love them, how much you care, how important they are. And that's exactly how we should speak to ourselves.
Absolutely.
Well, except when we're doing that, we're not speaking to our authentic self. And that's why we do it. Because you don't like that, but you are judging that person because that's not your authentic person. When you find that authentic self, you're not going to say that to that person because you've learned to love that person as well as everyone else. That's kind of what I saw. Like, I was mean to that person because it wasn't a real person. But I'm not gonna. I know when I'm being mean to myself, I'm like, don't do that.
Right. And even just the simple shifts of like, I'm never going to get this right. No, I'm going to. Like, I'm a person who doesn't give up. As long as I don't give up, I'm going to be successul. I'm going to do this.
Oh, that's the resiliency just in your story, which we didn't get into, but like, wow.
Yeah.
But what I like to say when that topic comes up is something I heard was people found that the most resilient people are the people that have connection and are having conversations and you can't be, or it's hard to be resilient alone.
Right.
And I hear that in your story too.
Yeah. And getting over the idea that like, I'm not defined by the worst thing that I've ever done. Yeah. And it doesn't mean that I'm not a good person. Smart people, kind people, courageous people, influential people, this can happen to any of us,
Yeah.
you know, and letting go of the labels and the stigma that are associated with, you know, people who don't drink. It's just, we'll always have stigma and issues with, you know, recovery. And there'll always be that stigma if we don't break that with getting the addiction treatment to recovery, you know, and it starts with us. It starts with having these conversations that it doesn't mean we're bad people.
Yes.
Like we just got addicted to something that's highly addictive. And now we have to start breaking free from that.
Right.
And we need people's support, you know, and maybe that just means no peer pressure. You know, I'm not contagious. I promise. There's like, you don't have to get sober, but you can respect my fact that I am a person who chooses not to drink. And we don't need peer pressure and adult bullying and jokes in order to like have you drink. Like you do you, I'll do me, you know? And I think that's the beautiful thing about just this movement too, is that, you know, we can still be really fun and funny and cool and choose not to engage in this behavior.
Yes.
And it's okay. I'm not better than you. I don't judge you.
Like, understand what I say is, understand. I'm telling my story because I need to, in order to heal.
Right.
And I can't do that alone.
It's also partial accountability at times too.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, that word.
And back to the girl, accountability. So, and I'm thinking about this just like in the mom groups and the friend groups I've been a part of. It's like, how do you soft launch? Like, hey, I don't drink. I would love for us to like, I don't need you to be sober, but like, yeah, it's like, how do you bring this stuff up without coming off like a recruiter? Like, like join my sober mommy. But bringing these things up is super important because there are a lot of people who are also curious, but just don't know where to start and don't know if they'll have that connection and community if they do bring it up.
Right.
Yeah.
It's so tricky because it's so different for everybody. Some people are like, I can't like camouflage things.
Yeah.
And, you know, like even just like the summertime, it's a big trigger for people with the heat. And it's like, you know, put a koozie or whatever those little cup insulated holders are, like camouflage it. You know, if you're not ready to have the conversation, don't have the conversation. But for me, I don't go in and preach anything to anybody, but I'm going to sit around a book club and I'm going to enjoy either a virgin drink or my Coke Zero or coffee or sparkling bubbly water. And I'm not going to shame myself for being the only person in the room who chooses not to drink. And half the time, if not more, people don't even notice what's in my cup. Right. And the people who do are the ones who are sober curious or in recovery. And we have like this secret code that like you don't even have to know or even say anything. And if somebody notices that I wasn't drinking, they'll come up, a lot of times they'll come up to me and say, hey, are you in recovery? Or I think I'm struggling. Like, can you help or can you give me a resource? And the conversations just happen organically and naturally. I'm not going to recruit and there's like nothing in this for me other than showing that like, you know, I literally destroyed my life and I'm rebuilding it. And I don't ever want to lose myself again because it's so socially acceptable to drink unless you have a reason not to. And until we break that down, it's always going to be there, you know, but the conversation's happening. People are just for the health of it, you know, not doing this because it's keeping them from their goals, not just ruining their lives completely.
Yeah. It's a wonderful time to be in recovery, telling our stories and being out there. So what would you say to the one person that's out there listening that might be thinking about this? What's your one message? How do you know, listen, if you want to hear anything, hear this.
I know it's cliche, but you're not alone. You're not. Like, you think that you're the only one, you know, that's going through this and you're terrified. Like, you're not. You're not. And there's so much support and resources out there for you. And just don't wait. Don't wait until your life becomes so unmanageable that you need every intervention possible because it's not fun. It's not fun. And there's so much support and there's so much life after this, after the drink. There really is.
Yeah.
A beautiful life. Yeah, absolutely.
I love that.
Yeah. Oh, so
where can people learn more about like you? And
all of my social media handles are all Recovery is the New Black. Websites, Recovery is the New Black. Kept it consistent.
How did you like when did that's awesome. When did you get that? Like that, I would think that would be pretty hot commodity that.
Yeah. All the years that I've worked in corrections, I'm like, they came out with Orange is the New Black.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm like, recovery is pretty freaking badass.
Yes,
it's pretty cool that we can do this and wear this. And I wear it with a badge of honor. So I'm like, that's how the two worlds kind of collided with the title. I'm like, I'm not good at this. I don't know what to call myself or what I want, this brand to look like and how to inspire people. But again, going back to just who are you? Mm-hmm. Because that's what makes you a great person, and people will gravitate towards that vibe. Don't be anybody else because they're all taken, So that's where Recovery as the New Black was born. Half corrections, half recovery. And
it's the best Instagram handle ever. I love it. I love it.
Right?
Yeah, it's so cool. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's where you can find me. And I'll continue to keep spreading the word and spreading the message of just we can do really hard things.
Well, thank you.
Thank
Michelle,
you so much. Yes, this was so wonderful.
Amazing.
Thank you so much for coming on today. And we really appreciate you sharing everything with us. This was absolutely wonderful.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. And thank you for all that you guys are doing for people to find, whatever pathway to recovery that looks like for them. Because we all know, as we talked about, there's just not enough information and knowledge and being able to spread the message that there is resources for anybody, regardless of where you're at, that there is a way to get support. So thank you.
Listeners, if you'd love to learn more about Michelle, you can find more about her in our description box and the show notes. She is Recovery is the New Black on all the social medias. And thank you so much for listening.